Going into episode 8 of Love is Blind, I'm at the point where I'm not even sure that the producers are trying to tell us a love story at this point. Let me set the scene for you. All the couples on the love game show that is Love is Blind, as we enter into the end game, every relationship is shambles, like every single one. Matt has stormed off of Colleen because she was out partying with other cast members. Girl does not come home. Bartise can just not stop telling Nancy how much he doesn't want her. Nancy's basically, I feel like Nancy's brainwashed at this point. I have finished watching the whole entire season at this point as I'm talking, so I might say little ad libs at some point, but the way that Nancy has described her relationship with Bartise, very fascinating, very fascinating. We'll get into all that later. Zainab and Cole cannot have a single conversation without one of them making a dig at the other. It's honestly impossible for them, to the point I'm like, this is just not healthy. I do not know why anyone in this season hasn't just walked away versus getting to the point where they're actually at the altar. I don't know if it's contractual obligations that has to happen. Like if I was Zainab, if I was also Cole, I would have been gone. I just like, we love each other in the pods, but this real world stuff is just not working. SK and Raven are not in the best spot, as SK just came over the fact that Raven's parents won't be there, and Raven's trying to tell him, but like they won't, but like we still should go through this, like I'm getting married for me. And there's also the whole thing where Raven wanted SK to support her even though she'd be in Dallas and he'd be in California for grad school. Brennan and Alexa honestly are doing perfectly fine, but they really are trying to push the narrative that these two won't work, as they're from two different social and economic statuses. But I know, everyone and their mama knows that they'll just be fine. They're definitely getting married at the end of this. Now that we've set the scene for where we have left off, let's get into this recap of episodes 8 through 10, and maybe the finale and reunion. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how far I get today. I'm Kaya Simone. If you're new here, welcome to my commentary and review channel. Would greatly appreciate a like, comment, subscription, whatever you want to give, I'll take it. Enough about that, let's get into our recap. Episode 8 opens up on Raqueline doing a ballet warm-up and talking about how she and Matt are in a fight because she didn't come home, but never brings it up. Colleen got a lot of hate for what she was doing, and people were like, oh, of course she's a ballerina, but she's not doing any ballet. And I'm like, she was obviously just warming up. Like, people were talking about like her point shoes, like not being pointy and not being broken in. She's not wearing point shoes. I think she's just doing a basic warm-up. She was going to be like full out here doing all her twirls. Like, be realistic, people, be realistic. Let's calm down the Colleen hate. She does not touch on at all though where she actually was. And I think that's really weird. I feel like that's been a great opportunity to kind of clear your name and be like, oh yeah, actually I was with producers. I was with Alexa that night. Like, yeah, we were all together. I thought Matt was going to be there, but he just decided to stay home. So I'm either thinking that she said something and the producers cut it out for more drama, or that's actually what happened. Nancy is opening up her heart and telling Bartesian. Okay, this is funny because I was on TikTok, me and all the people calling me everything but my own name. It's like, yes, I signed up for this. And every moment where I'm like, this man is here for love, it's like, no, this man was literally here for a social media following, and we all gave it to him, guys. He has like 100 plus subscribers, like 100 plus followers. Nancy's like, yeah, I was crying last night about everything you said, and I just wish that our emotional connection would be enough. And
how she pulled special girl in the world, how do I actually do it? Of course I want that for you.
Bartise is like, I think we're in a good place and our emotional connection should be sufficient to get us to the altar. Basically, like, once again being like, babes, you're just not attractive. I just honestly can't at this point. SK and Raven's like trying to be like more homey. She's making floral arrangements, but SK at the end of the day is also like, she's just not the traditional woman that I thought of marrying, which makes sense as he's Nigerian. Women in Nigerian culture, the ones that you're ideally should marry, they're very much homemakers, taking care of the home, taking care of the husband, taking care of the household, the kids and everything. And Raven's just not that. And so it's like a choice, like, is he okay with who Raven is, or does he want to be more, does he want to be less? Raven ends up going with SK's family friend, and SK's mother to go gele shopping, which is a traditional Nigerian headdress that you'd wear for a wedding. And they're both giving her advice on how to be a good wife and a good mom.
Always have some rice and stew, meat pie, egusi, efo.
And Raven's just like, I don't know if that's a good fit for who I am as a person. And you start to seeing like them again, once again, bash a little bit heads against who Raven is and then his culture. Something happens with Alex and Brennan, not really important. Brennan just meets Alex's friends. It goes fine. I'm not going to talk too much about it. That's it.
The camera guy? Like, I had no idea who he was because I was not expecting him to look like that, knowing her type.
They're just a lot. They're just so much, and it's just very drastic against who Brennan as a person and like who Alex and her friends are. Cole is nice enough, or I don't know how you look at it. You can let me know how you think about the whole Cole Zainab thing. But Cole gives Zainab's flowers and like, I'm sorry, I apologize for making you feel like you weren't the only girl in the world. Zainab is looking at this man like his shit don't stink, that she does not give a F about what he's saying and she doesn't believe it. If you really can't get over something, at the end of the day, at some point, it has to be on you to walk away. If you knew in your heart of hearts there was nothing Cole could ever say or do to make you feel okay with what he said about your looks, your beauty, your body type, you should walk away. You shouldn't get to the point where you're at the wedding and having to make those decisions. Cole's going on and on about how thoughtful Zainab is. She has this idea for them to go around the city of Dallas and do like a keychain lock around different parts, like this is where our love was. It's a cute little random idea to do. And Cole does this thing, which I thought was kind of fun and cute, where he throws something over and acts like he dropped the lock, and Zanab's freaking out. She's like, what? And he's like, joking. And she's like, ugh, Cole. And I think it's kind of cute. It's just so interesting watching the show back, knowing the more you know about how things turned out. I feel like I can't spoil. I'm not going to spoil anything explicitly, but you probably can pick up with some things I'm saying. Colleen and Matt never address, at least in the show, like their argument or their fight or where Matt went that night. Like, it's never addressed. But what is kind of addressed is Matt's friends come over for dinner and they're just chitting, chatting, gabbing. They talk about, Matt's ex-wife and how she cheated on him and got her pregnant by someone else, and that was a whole trauma that Matt has. Sure, aware, but it's also like, you should not be on this show if you have these kind of issues. You should not be coming into the show having like these big emotional hurdles to overcome. That's not what Love is Blind is for. They're all talking about like their relationship, and the friends are like, do you have so many issues?
I mean, we have our issues.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Fuck up, Reed.
Everything that we have, had a hiccup on has been small.
And then Colleen's, well, she's like, there was this very big one that happened where some guy was talking to me, and like I heard, she was like, Matt was like, this won't work, and he stormed out in the middle of the night. And his friends were like, oh, but then Matt also gets really, really upset that she said this. The woman and the guys go wedding dress shopping and then suit shopping. Not really anything happens at the bridal fitting. Like, the girls are looking cute, the dresses are gorgeous, Zainab's dress looks amazing. The only thing there is that Zainab's sad that her sister won't be able to come to the wedding given the short timing, that she's out of the country, so she had no one there. On the men's side, though, nothing too interesting. Well, I guess this is kind of interesting. So Bartise is talking to his sister.
Don't let people be in your ear about that stuff. She's beautiful. Nancy's beautiful. Our family's biggest concern is for you to love your woman, your wife.
And she's just like, look, we've had a chance to discuss, we to support you, we love you, Nancy's beautiful. But she's also like, you need to get your shit together, Bartise. And Bartise is just like, she's not the kind of girl that I used to go for. I showed her to my guys and my boys were like, ooh, and they pretty much do that for the next 25 minutes of the episode. This felt a lot like filler. Just because they had to end on some kind of cliffhanger, they end with Raven and SK talking about how Raven has talked to her family, like they're very supportive, but they just do not want to come to the wedding. And
I think one of my mom's biggest concern currently is about the fact that, none of your family members are going to be at the wedding.
She lists all the different family members that she could invite. Like, she's like 5-6 people. She's like, but they can't come. And SK is just like, but I don't understand, that doesn't make any sense. And she's like, I've tried, but it's not happening. She's like, I will still have people on my side. She's like, I still have friends, people I work with who will be coming. It's not going to be my family. And she's like, you have to be okay with that. SK is not here for it. And that's where we end episode 8. Episode 9 is titled The Last Supper. I believe it's that because it's their last interaction that they have before the weddings and their bachelorette parties. Also, like, the Last Supper is when Jesus was telling his disciples that one of you is going to betray me and I'm going to die. So it's also like, is this an episode about betrayal? You know, it's very, 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 very weird title. The episode opens up on Bartise taking Nancy to get permanent jewelry. When I say jewelry or jury, I like jury. And at first I was like, permanent jewelry. I was like, okay, are they getting it embedded into their skin? Like, what's permanent about it? Are they getting tattoos of jewelry? And no, it's basically they just weld a little bracelet onto you, and that's called permanent. And Bartise does this, as he says, he always wants to have like the name of his wife and his kids on him. Nancy thinks it's really cute. I feel like she thinks it's like a sign of affection and commitment from him, but it's also like a very low stakes thing that Bartise had to do to really instill confidence in her. Brennan is so committed to Alex that he's willing to convert to Judaism. Alex's father, I think, and her grandfather were there, like basically joshing with him the whole time. And it's like, sir, you do not need to convert to Judaism, but it's sweet. But they're not saying any of that either, so it's just a little. Also, Alex's dad's so hot. Like, he is the silver fox vibe. Like, ugh, so hot. Colleen has her parents over to talk to Matt. I think they met before. Maybe this is the first interaction. I can't really remember. But the interesting thing here is that her parents see the way that she's interacting with Matt. They aren't like loving it.
You kind of still hold a lot of those feelings in. I mean, I've heard more tonight than I have.
And they're basically like, her mom's like point blank, she's like, you've never really talked to us about your relationships or how you feel. You're not really open about that. And she's like, what? No way. And her mom's like, yeah, I've talked to you multiple times since you went on the show and you got back, and like, you've never disclosed this information to me like this. She's like, really? Mom's just like, no, you haven't. And I think it was a really real moment to say, like, your parents are supportive of you at times and they do their best. If you can't lean on them at times or at least disclose stuff, what do you expect for them to do? And they're just like, you're not really an emotional, open person. And that's something that we definitely noticed when Colleen first came on the show. She was so going after her to avoid having those emotional discussions with people. And she much more relied on someone else to be more jokey or having the other person open up. And I feel like that's how her relationship gone in the past, and I feel like that hasn't worked for her. SK and Raven go on a little gondola boat ride. I think one of the many man-made lakes around the Dallas area. We have real lakes too, but one of the man-made ones. And honestly, I think they're just so cute. They seem so cute and adorable and just so unproblematic at this point that I think even though they do have their issues, just my heart of heart at this point of the show just believes it's going to work out. That they're going to figure out a way through the issues. Maybe they'll take a break, maybe they'll get back together, but I just believe that they'll be together. Everyone's doing their cute little dates, and Matt and Colleen end up going to an underwater aquarium for dinner. And like, things seem fine, but then they get into the conversation of, okay, do we actually think we'll say yes to each other? Because the wedding's gonna be in 2 days at this point. And Colleen's being really silent, and Matt's just like, say it, say what you want to see. He's like, say it, say it, say it!
If we don't know, we're not taking a leap of faith. You have to know to get married. Say it. Say it.
No.
Say it.
I just,
That might be a lot, but it's like, say it. He's like very aggressive. And she's just like, I don't know if we're at the point where I can say yes at this point. We've had a lot of issues and we're working through it, but I just don't know. And I agree with her. I agree. I appreciate her honesty and transparency here, but I also don't know what can be done in 2 days to feel comfortable and resolved. Bartise says something that I don't think any grown man that's anywhere close to being married and having kids would say.
I'm gonna say this in the order I don't normally say it. Swallow, open your mouth.
And I'm like, man, you said this on national streaming television. It's so it's so crazy. And once again, this whole entire conversations are so one-sided. I feel like it's Nancy convincing Bartise that they want to be together and that they're going to get married, and Bartise just trying his best to validate that he's going to say yes. Like, the pods are, maybe you can fall in love in the pods, but they're not enough to sustain a full relationship. At some point, you have to wake up. Cole volunteers to make dinner for Zainab one night. It's just like chicken, some fries, nice simple meal. He bought some wine. He just decides to pour a glass of wine while they're waiting.
Zay and I say I do, and if we're married, I think we'd have an amazing life together. If we say I do, dude, it could be the greatest decision of our lives. Y'all know me pretty well.
She's not wrong, but also I feel like there's a way you could say it. Like, I'm not a Zainab hater, I'm not a Cole hater, okay? I'm not on either side of the camp. They're just two people who shouldn't be together at the end of the day. Like, that's it. It would be fine if it was just that one incident, but then she shows him, like, she cooks the chicken for him, and she's like, why are you putting the potatoes now? And just, like, it feels like she's just finding little small points to pick at him, and I know this is likely because there's other issues, and, like, this is just, when you're upset with someone like that, you can't prevent yourself from, like, spilling over. Like, you just have so much animosity for this person that every little thing is just gonna get on you. Again, though, like, you just have to walk away, because I don't know how this was healthy or good for either of them at this point, and I don't know how they could either get to a wedding day. They miraculously somehow get to the point where they're actually eating their meals, and again, weddings come up because they're getting married in 2 freaking days. And Zainab's like, you know what, if I had to marry you just solely based on who I met in the pods, 100% yes, I'd marry you right now.
Oh, yeah, off of the pods and off of the last 2 weeks, Cole? Yes. Yes, I am. Oh, Cole.
And it's just like, okay, but what are we doing about it? Like, what? So she's being honest here, I guess, but it's also Cole's not reacting the best. So it seems like it's the first time he's ever heard her say this, or maybe she said it before, but he just wasn't listening. And he's just like, I don't know why you want to marry me. You don't even act like you like me. And she's like, of course I like you. Like, why would you think that? But obviously he doesn't feel like it, you know? Like, at the end of the day, right, you can do your best to relay your actions on someone else, but it's on them to react to it. Like, you can do whatever you want, but you can't control how someone responds to what you do or say. But if you do care about the person, you should be a little bit more invested in how they are reacting to it and working towards making that experience better or having the expected outcome from them. And that's true for both of them. That's true for both of them, you know? And that's where we end episode 9. Episode 10 is titled Approaching the Altar. In this episode, we do at least get one wedding and then half of another wedding ceremony. But the episode opens up where we left off with Zainab and Cole having an argument or fight.
Stop making this like it's me. You didn't have to walk away, Zay.
They are having a full-on argument or fight. Like, they are in the parking lot yelling at each other. Zainab has stormed off. Oh, I forgot to mention this. Cole said, hey, are you bipolar or something?
And it somehow came down to me being bipolar.
You don't say that to women have mood swings. It's a common knowledge that does happen to women sometimes, but just say that she's bipolar, like, man, like, be real. There's just some things you don't say, and it's just like, he just doesn't know that. He just doesn't know those aren't things you can think them, but you don't say that. There's also ways you could phrase that question that wasn't like that. They have their own little private diary moments instead of just like, why would he do that? And Cole's like, I shouldn't have never said that. I was just trying to be a joke. And it's like, it's not funny at this point. I don't know how this is fun for either of them. It's not even fun for me. I think I'm just gonna not say anything about Cole and Zainab until we get to the wedding day, unless something comes up, but I think I'm done. I think I'm done with the ups and downs of who they are as a couple right now. We have the bachelor and bachelorette parties. The women do they get a house, like a nice little house somewhere at the pool, and they get some strippers, and then the guys go to the rodeo. Girls is like pretty, I mean, you have strippers, so I guess that's like not tame, but otherwise it's pretty tame. Nothing too much comes out of it. But somehow, like, just out of pocket, Alex is like, you know what, the person who would be the least likely would be a bride, or the worst bride, Raven. And it's just like, ma'am, like, why would you say that? Just why would you say that? Things are a little bit more interesting on the man side. They have like their male friends there, but the girls don't have like their female friends there. Interesting. Both Matt is talking to one of his friends and SK is also talking to one of his friends, both being like, yeah, like, we love these women, but we're not sure about the longevity. We have like these issues and just don't know how it's working out. Oh, I'm glad to see that the brothers brothering and all that. But otherwise, though, like, it's a big like snooze fest. Like, these two things are just both like snooze fest. Like, I get that they need them in the show, but I think it'd be like cut a lot more. Like, I don't need a full 30 minutes at the bachelor and bachelorette parties unless like something is happening, unless there's like some tea being spilled. It's not a cute moment for me as a viewer. We do see the boys that Bartise was talking about when he was like, yeah, I messaged my boys photos to Nancy, and they're like, ugh, you're with her. And like, I'm not going to shame men and like their looks, you know, there's someone for everyone. But also, I don't appreciate that these men were talking negative about Nancy. You know, it just opens you up, man. Like, you guys wish you could have her. You wish. We are getting to our first wedding, which is SK's and Raven's. I'm like super excited and pumped at this point. By all indicators, SK seems to be doing okay. He talks to his mother, he talks to his friends. It does come up again that it's very odd that Raven's parents aren't there. And he doesn't know if it's like the right, he just feels like a little bit weird about that. SK's mom, she's so sweet. She's just a doll. She's actually helping Raven prepare, putting on her gala, and like getting her ready for the day. And I think it's like so sweet and so cute. They get to the altar, and you guys for like weddings, you do the whole like speech thing about what you like about each other and like why you're there before you say I do. Again, they both say really nice, really sweet things to each other. And Raven goes first and she says I do, but SK says I don't. And I'm like so shook at this point. I'm like, I thought you guys were a surefire bet, in my opinion. I thought like you guys would have broken up by now, but you're together, so like why?
It's also about, you know, certain things that I know for a fact that, you know, she's very strong about.
We learned that SK said no because like there's like a lot of issues that they haven't resolved or figured out, so it'd feel really weird to get married at this point in time. Basically, like, I do love her, I do want to be with her, but I can't in good conscience say yes right now, which I feel like is valid. But it's also like, how well did he speak up about those things to her to make her know that, you know? I don't like the idea that she could just been blindsided about things he thought were deep issues that she had no idea about. And again, SK's mom, but all that she is, goes to her and she's like, I'm sorry, I love you. And she's like, I love you too. And it's just like, ugh, like tears. Like, again, I hope they get back together. We close out the episode on the wedding of Bartise and Nancy. Nancy's brother is like still very apprehensive, but he's like, okay, if that's what you want, like, we support you, of course. I mean, like, what else are you gonna say to like your sister or your daughter on the wedding day? You can't be like, yeah, you should definitely not do this. I mean, yes, you could, but then if they do, it just causes a whole rift between them. Bartise is having like his little prima donna moment in the bathroom where he's just like, I love her so much, and like it's such a big experiment. And I'm like, okay, like, are you ever come with emotion for the excitement and the joy, or are you about to say no to this girl? You know, like, let's be real, what's gonna happen? You get to the altars. Bartise is telling Nancy how much he loves her, how much he can't wait to be with her, and how amazing she is. And Nancy says yes. She literally says I do to this man, and then we get a cliffhanger, and it's like, wow, like, you really just had to do this. And it's like, I guess they did this cliffhanger because it was like the next week interval, so it's like to get the people talking about what's gonna happen. I'm hoping to God at this point that this man says no, since like Nancy didn't do what needed to be done and said yes. Like, I hope he at least was at the senses that this would not work. All right, guys, and that is the end of our episodes 8 through 10 recap. If you have stuck with me through the whole entire video, thank you. I appreciate it so much. Again, please give me a like, comment, subscribe, whatever you want to do. I appreciate it so much. And I'll catch you guys for my recaps for episode 11 and the reunion, which will probably follow maybe like 2 to 3 days after I do this video. Yeah, and I felt all that. I see you guys next time. Bye.